This is Beer in Front, part of the Odd Pods Media Network. Sometimes the beer in front of you is the best one yet. I'll talk about some great beer, and I'll also talk to various people in and around the beer industry to get their stories all about beer. That's Beer in Front, and it's coming up now. Welcome to episode 204, the April 9th edition of Beer in Front. I'm your host, Dave Zalatoris, and Beer in Front is a proud Odd Pods Media Network member. I have a good show today. I say it every week, but it's a good show today. I'm going to talk with a couple friends of mine from Birmingham, Alabama. We're going to talk about the beer scene there. I have a couple beers from Birmingham, so I had those. Those are really good. So this episode is going to be all about Birmingham. Sorry the episode is out a day late. My back has really been bugging me lately, so sitting down to type up everything and record was not in my best interest over the weekend when I normally do this. So my apologies for the delay. Speaking of the back, get this. So now, after having the needles in my ass cheek, which didn't help, now next week I'm going to have some electro something or other done to my back, and they need to put me under for that as well. So something's got to give, because this ain't right. If you need to get a hold of me, you could reach me, Dave at beerinfront.com, or on all the social media channels at Beer in Front. If you'd like to support the show, head over to patreon.com/beerinfront for more information. In beer and beverage news, Deschutes is coming out with a barrel-aged, fresh-squeezed beer that is supposed to resemble the old-fashioned cocktail. This is going to be a 10.7% beer, and while not available yet in my area, it looks like this is going to be a national release. The Brewers Association announced the 2024 Industry Awards. Recipients this year are Tanya Cornett from 10 Barrel in the Innovation in Craft category. John Pinkerton from Moon River took home the Recognition Award. Eric Orlando from the Zeta Group was awarded the Defense of the Industry Award, and Laura Lodge from Customized Craft Beer Programs is the Mentor of the Year. Congratulations to the winners. Coachella and Stagecoach will both have a sober bar at their music festivals this year. It's called the New Bar, and it's going to feature non-alcoholic beers, wines, and spirits. As someone that's been to multiple Riot Fests and Lollapaloozas, an NA bar is a good call. Goose Island will open up their location at the Salt Shed on May the 3rd. This will have indoor and outdoor seating, a brand new food menu, and a diverse tap list. Kendall Jackson, the winemaker, will be the first wine partner of the NBA. I'm talking a lot the last few weeks about beer and food pairings. Johnsonville, the sausage company, and Leinenkugel, they're joining forces to make a summer shandy-flavored bratwurst. Now, beer and brats are perfect together. I'm not sure how the lemon is going to taste in one, but you know me, if I see it, I'm going to put it in a cart. I don't know if they make it anymore, but I remember the Jewel, the food store here in Chicago, and Revolution used to have brats. They had one with Eugene, the porter, for a while, and then they also had the anti-hero brat. You know, the last one I think I saw at Jewel with a beer company was 312 had a infused brat. So, you know, maybe Jewel lining up with AB InBev now. Playboy, the magazine, or I don't even know if it's still around, but Playboy is coming out with a hard seltzer called Play Hard, and that's going to be the ready-to-drink sponsor of the Chicago White Sox. maybe the Sox should take the advice on the can and play hard. All right, today's show is going to be all about Birmingham, Alabama. First up is my good buddy Brandon. He sent me over a couple beers like right around the holiday season. Excellent stuff. I'm going to have one later from Good People Brewing Company. I'm going to have their coffee oatmeal stout. But I'm excited to meet Brandon, not in person because we're doing this via Zoom, but to meet you outside of Twitter.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's kind of funny how this happens. I was telling my wife about it and I was like, oh yeah, remember like he's the guy that a couple years ago sent me some Chicago beers and a Beer Santa Twitter thing. And then, here recently, the Metro, brewing, we were just talking about off air in terms of, getting me a little care package before their unfortunate, closure recently. Certainly appreciated that, but was happy to replicate on the Birmingham beer side for sure.
Now you do what, sales work with Avondale and Good People?
I do, yeah. Okay. So kind of little back context. Good People was the first kind of legally founded brewery in Birmingham. We opened in 2008. Avondale opened shortly after, and they were two separate companies for a little while. And eventually Good People wound up buying Avondale. This was all prior to me being here. Mm-hmm. I'd been in Birmingham for coming up on a year already somehow. But yeah, and so there for a while when, acquisition first kind of happened, it was just kind of a, operating kind of two bicycles, just do your thing, we do our thing. Mm-hmm. And then now in the last couple of years, it's kind of become a little bit more consolidated because the Avondale brewery, it's essentially a second tap room for us there. Like we don't do any production there. All the production we do at Good People, which is right downtown. But at the Avondale side, we've actually really invested into that space and turned it into a pretty popular and prominent event space here in town, which is really cool. We get some pretty great, really bookings for just live music pretty much throughout the year. We do have an indoor upstairs kind of private, smaller space that we can do some really cool shows at. Okay. And then we have, more of the outside, like stage lights, camera, just full on.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. It's a cool spot. And it's been kind of funny for somebody who, definitely is a transplant over here, just seeing like, oh, like I, love this beer under this umbrella of the, like I love this one Avondale beer. I love this one Good People beer. It's like, okay, well, it's all the same, it's the same place, but.
Well, I know, like, we did this exchange like, last year, and it was funny, like the care package you sent wound up going to like Portland, Oregon before it made its way to Chicago. We're like talking, it was like Christmas. So it's like, all right, shipping's going to be late or whatever. But sure. I'm looking at like the tracking number you sent. I'm like, Oregon? Wait, Alabama's here, Chicago's here, and Oregon's way over there. But it finally came. I did a couple segments on them earlier, which I'll put out later in the show. But I know like some of the ones that I had, like that Avondale was really good. I'm really excited to crack open this coffee oatmeal stout now. What can you tell me about this one while I'm busting it open here?
So a little fun kind of personal anecdote for me on that one. So I'm born and raised in Georgia, spent first 30 years over there before, again, recently moving over here about a year ago. Good. Oh, yeah, it's a good looking pour.
That's a good looking pour, good head there. It smells great.
So Good People used to distribute in Georgia and recently pulled out a couple years ago. But whenever they were distributing in Georgia, that beer in particular, my wife and I, we bought, I think I bought like 6 cases of it for our wedding, and then wound up not being able to use it because of, venue and this and that. And so we wound up just having 6 cases of Good People Oatmeal Stout. Yeah. So that's a beer that I was not overly mad at the time to have on hand, but it's also just kind of funny, just the kind of story of how I even wound up with Good People. I was, a fan of theirs for a long time before ever even, kind of in your head, there's always the kind of, oh, that'd be really cool to work there one day, just especially as I kind of got, involved in the industry and whatnot. And Never really thought it would actually happen, and then I did. So kind of a little bit of a full circle moment, but
Yeah. The circle of life there. Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, Coffee Oatmeal Stout used to be one that we offered as in terms of just a year-round offering. We had a brown ale, a lot of the kind of maltier beers, which I think partially, again, I've only been around for a year or so might not all be totally the full accuracy, but in my opinion, I think it's just that Alabama is still such a new and kind of young craft beer landscape, really. So like, we're the oldest. We started in 2008. And so that just shows you, I think right now there's 45, give or take, operate out the state. Birmingham, especially if you consider kind of the metro area, Birmingham, I think we account for almost 20 of them. So, I mean, that's 50% of them are pretty much in Birmingham.
Yeah.
Huntsville's popped up as a pretty good hub, but for the most part, a lot of it, is right here. But back to Coffee Oatmeal Stout, now it's one of our fall seasonals that we do. So it kind of fell into our, because, we're fortunate to be the size we are, and, a lot of our volume is done in, package, grocery store, gas station, just kind of people seeing our beer, buying our beer from, those places. And one of ours, we kind of package one of our SKUs into being, for about the first 6 months of the year, we do our West Coast IPA Hitchhiker, which is a crowd favorite. It's one that, people love to see come out every year. And then we roll it into Oktoberfest for a few months. And then right after Oktoberfest, we roll out Coffee Oatmeal Stout.
Okay.
This past year was really cool. We did a couple adjunct versions of it. So we did one that was like a peanut butter coffee oatmeal stout. We did, little kind of fun things with it, but it's definitely one of the ones that is kind of near and dear to me in our portfolio for sure.
Yeah, it's really good. Like, you definitely notice, or at least I do, I notice the coffee's there, but it doesn't take away from the beer. Like, some coffee beers are almost just like drinking a can of cold coffee, where this is like, it's there. It's there, but you still get like all the flavor of the beer and the stout. It's really good. I was just looking at the can while you were talking. What's the ABV on this?
It's like 5.
Okay.
5, 6, something like that. It's pretty light. Let me, just to make sure I'm not lying to you.
Yeah. I mean, the artwork is really cool too. I love the font. I mean, I love like the logo. Everything about this is really good. Yeah,
it's boom, 5.7, nailed it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one that, it's people definitely love seeing kind of come back around. This to me is one of the kind of staples of the market here in terms of, okay, like it's fall, like we're coming up on the holidays. Here's Coffee Oatmeal Stout, like, but yeah, it's one that I definitely agree. I really enjoy it because it's not super in your face coffee. Like, I don't want one of the ones where it's like, oh, like, am I drinking a coffee?
Yeah.
Like, for sure.
Is this going to keep me awake at night? Yeah. Have you ever or have they ever barrel aged this?
That I don't believe so. So every fall, or not fall, really, it's kind of every December. We have a really big event. It's called El Gordo Day.
Okay.
And it's a release of our 13.9%. Our ABV law is 14% here, but it's our 13.9% Russian Imperial Stout.
Okay.
And that one, we always do just the base variant, and we'll do the base beer, and then we'll release variants alongside it. And then on the El Gordo, it's, we'll play around with that one a lot. Like this past year, we did a barrel age, we did a cookies and cream, but Coffee Oatmeal Stout typically is just, we just kind of let it ride.
All right. Like you mentioned before, like, before we were talking, like you work with porch drinking as well?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So just kind of my long story short, when I kind of got into craft at a really great time in Georgia, just because as I was turning kind of 21 and of age, that's when the boom really kind of happened in Georgia. And so I just kind of got to see it, grow. There was a couple year period where it was, there's a new place twice a month, 3 times a month, like every weekend. And just always was, near and dear to me. And whenever I thought I was going to be a teacher there for a little bit, my undergrad's in history. And when I kind of stumbled my way through no pun intended, of my bachelor's, I actually came across the museum field. And so I wound up going to grad school for public history. So, the museum field. And part of my program, since it was a history program, we had to do a thesis. And I knew going in, I was like, I'm going to do something with beer. I'm going to figure out what it is. I don't know yet. And, no different than any other thesis or anybody else's project. Like, it went through a couple iterations, but wound up doing the like first ever like scholarly whatever, master's thesis on Georgia beer history. And my last semester, I actually through Twitter met Tristan Chan, who's the founder of Porch Drinking, and got involved with him. And, it was like, hey man, like if you're, interested in this, like it'd be cool to just get you on board, do some writing for us. And I was like, oh yeah, like let me finish the thesis and then we can figure it out. And so I got involved with them in January 2020, and then was a contributing writer for a few months, and then kind of became the Georgia content editor, and then recently kind of transitioned into me and one other gentleman, Jason Murphy. We're the Southeast content editors now.
Okay.
But yeah, I've really enjoyed my work with Porch Drinking, obviously. So it was founded in Denver, but Chicago is a huge hub of Porch Drinking. It always has been. It's kind of Denver, Chicago are our two kind of really big markets for it. We have a ton of writers out there. We have a ton of support out there, which is really cool. But it's been, it's been a lot of fun. Have definitely done some kind of fun articles, done some, kind of deep dives, which is always a fun thing. Couple of and whatnot. But so I've always done that kind of on the side. And so 2020 was working at a museum. It was, that's what you do. You get your degree, you do your field. And when COVID happened, actually, we wound up shutting down. But I always say it was kind of a little bit of a blessing for me, just because I wasn't, loving what I was doing, even though I had just gone to school for it and was trying to convince myself. And so I actually, my last semester of grad school, started working at a bottle shop in town, Westside Bottle Shop in Athens, Georgia, and wound up, just really finding myself enjoying my days there more than I was, previously. And again, long story short, made some really key friends and connections and whatnot, and was there for probably, I guess, a little over 2 years. And there was a small brewery opened up in 2021 called Authentic Brewing, and I wound up, long story short, getting on board with them. And I guess they opened in 2020. I came on in 2021, and then was there for a little over 2 years again, right until we moved over to Birmingham and got on with good people.
You've only been there a year. I know, like, my cousin who lives there, he talks it up. What is, like, the Birmingham area like? Like, what's there to do? Like, the only thing I really know about it outside of my cousin is Michael Jordan played minor league baseball there 30 years ago.
Yeah. So actually the Barons, the Birmingham Barons, Good People's Tap Room is located right across the street from Regents Field, where they still play. And so location wise, it's, perfect, especially this time of year. I mean, roll in, have a couple beers, go over to the minor league game for a few bucks, and it's a good Thursday night.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, honestly, I think my biggest like kind of compliment of the city is just the way it feels like a big city, but it's not overly populated like in Atlanta or something. So, you kind of get best of both worlds. Like, yes, traffic can be a little bad sometimes, but it's never, super terrible, but
it's
also
never LA bad. Yeah.
Or even Atlanta bad, honestly.
Yeah.
But it also just like, it's very much like it's a very like kind of neighborhood feeling. Like there's just a lot of just kind of little like cool pockets. Like you definitely have kind of the more like, city spots. You have the more, sometimes to me, it doesn't make a ton of sense, but the kind of main drag that runs out of downtown and you see the kind of cityscape and whatnot, it really reminds me of Pittsburgh, which
Pittsburgh's a great town.
I've spent exactly one night in Pittsburgh, and I loved it. But which, one of the monikers of Birmingham is like this, the Steel City. So there was a lot of that industry here and whatnot, historically. So it just kind of, it has that feel and vibe. But yeah, we have a really great museum scene here, both, arts museums, history museums. There's the Civil Rights Institute here that is a really incredible museum. Obviously, there's no professional sports in Alabama other than what some people would say, the University of, not personally, but hey. But no, I mean, there's honestly there's a ton. And we also have a really kind of, I don't really know the best word for it, active, I guess, kind of tourism council or commerce or whatever. So, like, we have a few really big event spaces here. There's a soccer club here. There's a couple of the spring NFL, USFL, the Birmingham Stallions.
I saw that.
Won 2 of the last championships, I guess, or back-to-back champions. I am not, at the time of this recording, a big spring football first, but we'll see, pretty big fall football person. But yeah, I mean, that's been the kind of cool thing, is just, being in a new space. Obviously, we spend a lot of weekends just kind of getting out and just kind of randomly just going around places. But the beer industry here is really cool, just especially in Birmingham proper, just because from, kind of point A at the furthest end of town to point, B at the other end of town, there's, I believe, 8 or so breweries within like a 5-mile stretch. Like, so many of them are downtown. Like, I mean, Monday Night, who is from Atlanta, they have a spot here. Highwire from Asheville, they have a tap room here. And then, there's been a few that have either, like, there's one spot downtown that is currently called Uproot Brewing. And that the building they're in, similar to what we were kind of talking about Metro earlier, that they're like the third brewery to be in that space. Like, both of the other two have started there, outgrown it, put a new spot somewhere else. And so that's a really cool thing to see too, is just the kind of support that, for an industry that's a little bit younger here, just to still have that amount of support to be able to, have a dozen within a 5-mile kind of stretch.
Yeah. Is it like a walkable city? Like, Chicago, you could pretty much walk anywhere you wanted to, or is it pretty much like you need to get a car or an Uber or something like that?
Yeah, there's like definitely some parts that are walkable, but for the most part, it's just kind of, close in proximity, but not really, overly walkable. Like, there's not a ton of, like, public, like, sidewalks, or like, have like I think it's like the Greenway or Green Line or something that it's kind of similar to like Atlanta's Beltline.
All right.
But it doesn't, I don't think that it fully has been developed, like, to kind of encapsulate, the whole city yet. For the most part, though, I mean, pretty much everything is, 10, 15 minutes from anywhere you want to go, which is always a plus. Yeah, it's not like, I mean, certainly can walk it, but,
walk off those beers. Yeah,
for sure.
What else is there to do? Is there like outdoor stuff? Are you like close to like trails, parks, things of that nature?
For sure. Yeah, there's a few. There's one like kind of right downtown. It's been a little bit of a kind of recent, I think, renovation from what I've been told, at least, called Railroad Park. Okay. It's actually right outside of the Avondale neighborhood, which is obviously where our, tap room is. But there's also like Oak Mountain. I don't know if it's a state or national park, to be honest with you, one of the two, but it's kind of, right over here. There's all kinds of walking trails on it. It's definitely, like, Birmingham's definitely a pretty like outdoor city. From, I think it actually picked up this month in March, but for like a 6-7 month period, there's a kind of section of downtown that's probably, I don't know, 5 or 6 kind of blocks wide, that every Saturday there's a huge farmers market that people just, I mean, it's kind of a, like, I don't know, it's, you got to go. I don't know how to, I mean, it's a huge, just, all kinds of vendors, from like arts and crafts to just produce to, baked goods. I mean, there's just everything there. That's a really cool space, but there's definitely been a lot more, from what again, I've been told, or just that it's come up in conversation, there's been a lot of kind of renovation recently and a lot of kind of directed, kind of infrastructure or in this, particularly like in downtown and the kind of surrounding areas. But yeah, I mean, there's, always something going on.
Yeah.
Like, certainly. I will say one thing that I didn't expect, or, maybe just didn't know, but the culinary scene here is really great as well. There's a ton of just great restaurants from, dive bars with great food to the, like, James Beard nominee, James Beard chefs. And I think there's even like a couple, like, there's a few spots downtown that are certainly like, very, very highly regarded, but it's kind of spread out. But I just also love the just amount of kind of international food that's here.
Okay.
I mean, we have a Thai place, an Indian place, like literally half a mile from our house, and, visit both frequently. There's obviously, burgers and there's everything here.
Mm-hmm.
That was one thing that I didn't expect, really. I kind of just, so my wife's actually from Alabama, but she's from a small town in Alabama. It's like an hour east of Birmingham. And my only real, Alabama experience was going, to my in-laws and just kind of seeing her town. And so whenever we first were talking about moving from Athens originally, it was, oh, let's go to Birmingham. And it was a little bit of a tough sell for me for a bit. And then we got here and I was like, oh, like, this is actually a pretty sweet place.
Okay.
So it certainly has, it's not like, I think the thing I like about it is that it's not an overly like Southern charmy kind of city, but it's like definitely like super welcoming. And it's also just, like you kind of get a lot of the kind of big city quote perks without, having the population of, 5-6 million, like, Chicago, any of the big cities.
Mm-hmm. Now, with like the breweries that you represent, I mean, they're in cans, obviously. What's like the distribution like? Are you all over like the Southeast, or is it just strictly closer to like the Birmingham area?
Yeah. So for distribution of the Good People, especially the Good People brand, I won't, bore with the specifics. Are obviously having kind of two brands is awesome, but it definitely leads to a little bit of, just figuring out details and logistics. But Good People, beers available all throughout the state of Alabama, top to bottom. We launched over in Mississippi last year. We kind of focused on Starkville and the Tupelo area, so where Mississippi State is. And then last fall, we actually launched down into Jackson and Hattiesburg, and then down kind of the Gulf Coast, like just all of, basically the kind of southern part of the state. And then so down in Florida, we go over to Pensacola, and then that's kind of where we draw it. And then for Tennessee, we're in Chattanooga and primarily Nashville.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a pretty good presence up that way, and a lot of love and support up there. So we certainly appreciate that.
Brandon, I appreciate you taking time out. It was nice to do the beer exchange. I still have the Metro glass for you because I bought two, but I didn't want it to break in the box with the beer. So we'll have to do. I'll have to send you that out because it's still. I'm looking at it right now. It's in the bag. So I've got the one last glass for Metropolitan. But thanks so much for talking about the Birmingham area. If you're there, you got to check out Avondale and Good People. The beers that I've had have been outstanding. So definitely, if you're in their distribution footprint, you got to pick those up. Brandon, man, thanks again, brother. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. No, it was a pleasure. It's always a fun thing to actually kind of sit down with somebody that you've, interacted with and like feel like, for so long.
I think our first interaction, or you probably were pissed at me because it was something about, I think I had a 28-3 comment about something, and you were like, dude.
Yeah. It was probably a Super Bowl comment. Yeah. We, at this point, rightfully earned every single bit of the grief that we get about that.
Yeah.
I wholeheartedly, in the past year's Super Bowl, it's cool to see Kansas City doing their thing, but I could not pull for Kyle Shanahan after what he did to
Yeah.
us. It's ruined my life, but luckily the Braves and UGA has bailed us out since. Still waiting for things to, become relevant. Are y'all getting excited up there about Caleb Williams, you think? Is that?
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, especially after they traded Justin. So, yeah, we're definitely taking it. I was actually kind of like, I didn't really have that much of a problem with Justin. He kind of dealt a bad hand to begin with Matt Nagy here and then thrown to the Wolves.
Absolutely.
But, it's kind of hard to pass on the number one pick and reset that quarterback clock. So, I mean, he's going to have some talent. I mean, right now their offense is stacked.
That was a big year. The biggest, I know obviously this is a beer podcast, so
but it's all right.
But the biggest thing that has irked me this entire kind of draft off season has been, Chicago this, Chicago that. It's like Chicago, I mean, they were on a pretty good run toward the end of last year. Like, this isn't really their, like they didn't earn the number one.
Yeah.
Like, it's Carolina's pick. But the whole off season, it was, well, the situation is Chicago, this and that. But, we'll see. But I mean, I think, I think it worked out for everyone involved as much as it could, I guess, at this point, just for how loud it constantly was. And,
a couple more weeks and it'll all be over, and then we could have peace and quiet until training camp.
For sure. Yeah.
Good luck. All right, man. Well, thanks again, Brandon, for, sending the beers out. I appreciate them. You got to pick up the coffee oatmeal stout and then listen on a little bit later. I'm going to have a couple of the other beers from Avondale and a couple other breweries that he sent out. So stay tuned for that. So Brandon, thank you again, brother. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Thanks for the time.
Hey, you there. We've got a question for you. Are you tired of clickbait stories and the loudest voices driving discussions in culture and entertainment?
If so, I'm Dylan.
I'm Kendall.
And I'm Corey. And we host the podcast From the Middle. We're middle-class guys living in the middle of America, in the middle chapters of our lives with points of view somewhere in the middle.
We take a more reasonable and centrist approach in our discussions covering genres like comedy, culture, entertainment, and interviews, with really interesting folks like business owners, comic creators, doctors, news anchors, New York Times best-selling illustrators, professional stand-up comics, and more. We really value a relaxed and conversational podcast, one that we hope is so fun and laid back, you'll forget you're not actually hanging out with us.
So search at From the Mid Pod, just like it sounds, or check us out everywhere you can find podcasts.
When you're done listening to this show, head over to From the Middle and check them out. Always a great show. All right, welcome back. When I'm talking Birmingham, there was one person I had to reach out to. Ashley Monroe. She's been on the show. She was on a couple years ago when I did like everyone talking about breweries in their city. You may know her on social media as Brewed Black Girl, but she's your go-to person when you want to know about beer in Birmingham. Ashley, thank you so much.
Thank you, Dave, for having me. I am so happy to be back on here.
Before we get started, I know you're drinking a beer, I'm drinking a beer. Can you tell everyone about yourself?
Well, I am born and raised in Birmingham, so I know it through and through. And like you said, I am on all social media as Brewed Black Girl. I am just trying to be a great representation of Black women in the craft beer industry. And I've been doing it for a little over 6 years. And I'm just excited what this industry has been doing. And yeah, I'm just excited to be a part of it.
Yes.
For the most part. Yeah.
Now you're part of the Pink Boot Society. Didn't you post something like maybe a couple weeks ago? I saw you with like a big bag of hops in your hand.
Yes, I am the co-chapter leader of the Birmingham chapter. We are less than a year old.
Okay.
We finally got a new chapter, or the only Alabama chapter, last June. So I'm very excited that we have that too. But yeah, we did the Pink Boots hot blend brews.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that looked pretty cool from what you were posting. What kind of beer is that?
So the one that you saw was a tea pale ale. So it was brewed with a tea from Piper and Leaf, who is actually local, and it's like a strawberry shindig tea. So it was brewed with that, and it's really good. You really get the tea on the back end of it, but you still get the hops that plays with it. So it's called Not So Dainty at Back 40.
Is that out now, or is that still being fermented?
Oh, yeah, it is out now. It is at Back 40, and we're also having, I know this will be released afterwards, but we're also doing one with Monday Night Brewing.
Okay.
And that will be released tomorrow at our Pour Us Another event.
Okay, cool. Well, what beer are you having since we're talking Birmingham beer?
I am drinking a Trim Tab Cherry Slush. I like sours a lot, and I like high gravity sours. So, the cherry limeade slush is just a really tart sour.
Oh, I love cherry limeade. Like,
me too.
I mean, if you could booze up the Sonic cherry limeade, I'd be in good shape.
I mean, you could get the cherry limeade slush and then just add vodka.
All right.
I can't say that.
Yeah.
I may or may not have tried that before. But yeah, it's good.
I'm trying to think. I saw something like with cherry limeade. Like, I know, like Simply Lemonade, they just come out with a limeade version of like their seltzer. And I had just the plain one. But yeah, I would think in a variety pack they should do a cherry limeade because that would be good.
You think so? It actually would be. It'd be nice and tart and
because all the seltzers that are out there, like the Simply Lemonade one's been my favorite. I'm like, this is actually pretty good. I would drink this. Like, I know they have a peach and a strawberry lemonade, and every one I've had of those has been good.
Yes, that, and actually I've liked the Truly ones.
Okay.
But those are the only ones that I've liked. Truly actually has a margarita kind of version.
All right.
And so that's really good too. But yeah, Simply Lemonade is really good, especially the spiked ones. I just haven't had any others that like match up to that at all.
Yeah. And I would much prefer a beer, but I saw those on the shelf. I'm like, all right, well, I do like Simply orange juice, so let me try it. And I'm like, oh, this ain't bad.
Right. And it's good if you just want something that's not too carbonated.
Yeah.
And, you're trying to stay away from the bloats or something like that. You're out in the pool or something like that. I think about bloat. It may not be on everyone's mind, but I do. Yeah. I think about that when I drink beer.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to crack open from Birmingham District. This is their Pilsner. This is an American-style lager, 4.8%. So let me bust this one open.
I love Birmingham District.
When I was talking to Brandon, because he's with good people in Avondale, so you have Birmingham District. What other breweries are out there that, like, you would recommend people hit up?
Definitely Ferris. Ferris is out on the outer skirts of Birmingham in Trustful, but they make fantastic sours. They also make fantastic IPAs. Okay. And they also do like really traditional styles that maybe not every brewery is doing. Like they may have like a smoked wheat on or a grisette or something like that. So they make really delicious beers. Who else? Cahaba is fantastic as well. They have a blonde. They also make their own liquor. Because here in Alabama, I don't know if your cousin told you, but here in Alabama, if you're going to sell liquor as a brewery, you have to make it. Oh, wow. That's one of the alcohol laws. Mm-hmm. So they distill their own liquor. So that's a great place to go to if you have someone in your group that is not a beer drinker. So they have a lot of good like mixed drinks and stuff too, but they also make fantastic beers. So Cahaba is another one that's really good.
All right, cool. I'll have to check that out and add that link in the show notes, or people are heading down to Birmingham. I'll include the link of all the breweries, for people to hit up. Now
you can really go a lot of places. Sorry to cut you off.
Oh no, that's all right. Like, if you're going down there, would you suggest like maybe people do like a 3-day weekend, a full week? What's your idea about that? People coming just to visit?
I think a good weekend even a 3-day weekend, because we have a lot of great restaurants. We have a lot of great historical places to go. And then we also have a lot of great breweries and bars. So like you really can come and go hiking, or if you want to go to the Civil Rights Museum, if you want to go on the brew tour, there's just so many different things that you can do downtown in general that you can fill it up in a week, honestly.
Okay.
But I mean, if you're trying to just have a little getaway for a weekend, it's a great spot.
Okay. And like, when I was talking to Brandon as well, would you need to rent a car, or is it like, could you Uber, or is there public transportation, or is it just pretty much just rent a car?
Okay, so you definitely need a car. We are not very public transportation friendly. We have buses, but it doesn't go everywhere and doesn't pick up from everywhere.
Okay. And if you're going out at night, just get a car.
You can Uber.
Oh, you can Uber. Okay.
Yeah, we have Uber and Lyft. We have little scooters, that's downtown. So you can scoot from different places too. You can park somewhere. A lot of places on the weekend don't charge for parking.
Okay.
Especially like after 6 p.m. So you can park somewhere, grab a scooter, and then go wherever you need to go downtown.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's fun.
Like some of the restaurants, what are some of the restaurants that like you would recommend, and like what style of food do they have?
So let's talk about my favorites. Downtown in Lakeview is an area that has a lot of bars, but they also have a lot of restaurants. My favorite Mexican spot is there, called Los Amigos. Really cheap food, delicious food, great drinks too, and they don't cost a lot.
Okay.
I like seafood, so Umami is another great spot that has fresh sushi. They have pho, they have ramen. Such a delicious spot to go to. Or if you just want a burger, we got Jack Brown's.
Okay.
Down there, and that's all walking distance. Like those are all in a plaza that you can just walk around in. When there's different bars just scattered around too. We have a lot of James Beard Award nominees here, and so if you're gonna come here, you're gonna expect to eat really, really good.
All right, good. Wait, I think I might hear Moira. Is Moira back?
Oh, no. My goodness. Will I be graced with her presence?
Yeah, no, I think she might still be out. I was going to put her up on camera if she's back, but
she'll be cute.
I thought I heard her.
Her little tippy toes.
Yeah. I've also, like, on your social media feed, I see you do stuff with, like, wine tastings and sake, stuff like that. Like, what other spirits and alcohol are you into?
So I am in a new position at a grocery store, and I am kind of being thrust into the wine part of alcohol. And so that's what you see. We have different reps that come and see us and talk to us about wine. And I am really getting into wine. I am, like you said, I did try sake. I am not so into sake.
Yeah. I've tried it a few times, and I'm like, it's not bad, but it's just not my thing.
It's not something that I would drink purposefully.
Yeah.
I mean, I would drink it if someone did like a sake shot, because they do sake shots, but it's not something I'm going to order out at a restaurant.
Yeah.
But I am, delving into that, and it's been fun learning. It's a completely different world than beer. So I do feel a little bit like a fish out of water a little bit, but it's been fun.
Like, how are like wine people different from beer people?
They're they are a little bit more skeptical when I'm suggesting things. I feel like they are they're very set in their ways. They're a lot less open to trying new things than I feel like beer people are. I feel like beer people see something and they may see a hop and like, oh, I know about that hop, and so I want to try it. Wine people, not so much. They sometimes like to stick with what they like, and I get that, but sometimes you discover a new favorite when you step outside the box and try something that you never thought you would.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you might find your new favorite. You never know.
Exactly. And it
Yeah.
may be something that you never thought that you would pick up, but someone suggested it to you and you like it. So it's a little different to get them to try something new,
Mhm.
but they're not the ones I've encountered. They're not snobby. They're not stuck up at all like a lot of people say that they can be.
Yeah.
They're very nice. They just know what they like. And if it doesn't sound like it's something they like, they're not going to get it.
Mhm. Like, do you feel like, or do you notice, like in the wine world and even in the beer world too, where the perception and most of the people out there, unfortunately, look like me? You're older white dudes with the beard. Will people trust your judgment or opinion, or is it still like, well, let me find a guy to talk to?
In both worlds, I've had
Okay.
someone not say it, but you can tell that they are kind of iffy on what I'm saying about the alcohol. So it takes a little convincing. It's more of a "are you sure" kind of thing, and you have to be like, "I'm sure, I'm sure,
Yeah.
I'm sure," and then they'll take it. And then I have some people who are like, "Oh yeah, I know you know about it. You seem like you know about it," and once you tell them specific words or specific tasting notes or something like that, then they'll be like, "Oh, okay, maybe she does know what she's talking about." So yeah, that's just how it is. I just have to just be persistent and say, "I know what I'm talking about. I know that you could probably like this, and if you don't, we come back and let me know." I can't refund you, but we can find something else you like.
Yeah. Well, I think Moira is gracing our presence here. Moira, come here. Moira, somebody wants to say hi to you.
Moira.
Oh, wait.
Love her name, by the way.
Yeah, she needs a treat, so hold on. Then she'll come in.
Of course, you have to get rewarded for going on a walk. I like to reward myself for going on a walk.
Yeah.
Look at her.
Yes.
Oh, sweet girl.
There's Moira.
Oh, my goodness. She's like, no.
Yeah, she's like, no, I need to get out of here. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I do not want to be on camera.
Yeah. It's okay. You're a good
She's so
girl.
cute.
Yeah, she's good
adorable.
girl.
How old is she?
She'll be, I think, 8 this year because we adopted her like during the pandemic. So yeah, I think she was 4 when we adopted her.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but no, she's still full of spunk.
Yeah,
she's a young 8.
Right. I have because she is what do you think she is? She's like a Jack Russell mix?
She's a rat terrier, and we're not sure what the other part is.
I feel like I have either Jack Russell or rat terrier mixed with Chihuahua because they were sold to my mom as a Chihuahua. But she's 12 and she is just running around like crazy.
Yeah.
All
it's Zoe,
time.
Right?
It's Zoe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was weird. I was talking to somebody, I think it was Brian in St. Louis, and we were talking about beer Twitter and the beer social media community. And it's like, a lot of people don't use their names. It's just their handle. And they're like, I know people's dogs' names more than I do their own real name. Like, oh, yes, you have Zoe, and I know Brian has Buddy, and Shalonda has Raleigh. So everybody's dog's name, but you might not know what their real name is.
Yeah, and it's sad, like in person.
Yeah,
and I'm trying to stop myself from doing that. I'll introduce myself to the dog before I introduce myself to the person, and that's so bad. And I'm like, I'm so sorry, but I just saw your dog, and if they say it's okay, I'm going to pet your dog first.
Oh yeah.
That's how it is. But yeah, I definitely know dogs' names. Yeah. I remember that a lot more than people. And that's, I say that's the redeeming quality. I'm going to take it that way.
Is Zoe a good bar dog or not?
She is not.
Yeah.
She does not like strangers.
Yeah. I hear that.
She does not like strangers. What about Moira?
No, she's weird. Like in the house, she's an absolute angel. But once you put that leash on her, no. And it's something with like the leash, like she will
is
just
a harness different?
Yeah, no, it's no difference. It's just like if she's free, she's cool. But we're not going to keep her without a leash, especially in public, So,
Right.
yeah, we can't really take her out to like a bar and stuff because there's places around here that would be perfect for her, but she's too high strung. And, I don't want one because she stirs up trouble. So I don't want to get in the middle of this. So we'll just, keep her at home.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
And she'll be a lot less stressed too. Because if you're stressed, when I'm stressed, I know she's stressed. So yeah, it's just better to just stay at home,
Yeah, I mean, she's so like high strung, like we had to put her on Prozac. Yeah, and even like the vets are like, yeah, you got to medicate her, for like when she goes out because she's just super high strung. And she was a rescue. So actually, she comes from Alabama. That's where we rescued her from. Yes.
Oh my God.
But, who knows what she had in her previous life. So, whatever. We're, she's good. She's our good little girl.
Yeah, Zoe is on trazodone. She has anxiety, so she does get trazodone at certain times when I know it's going to be like a lot of people either coming in the house or something or something like that. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. What do you think about the Pilsner?
I like it. It's very good. I get there's like a little sweetness to it, but not a lot. And I just think it's really good. It's balanced. It's, what is it? What did I say? 4.8%?
Yeah, it's a low
4.8. So, I mean, I think this is delicious. Good. This is something I'd have like every day.
Birmingham District is really a fantastic brewery. They've won a couple awards and recognitions in national publications before, and it's well deserved. They're really good at what they do. Jimmy, the brewer there, his mind, I got to brew with him last year, and his mind, I learned so much. He's just so knowledgeable, and he just taught me so much about the brewing process and why you do what you do and all of the science and the math. And yeah, he's just awesome.
Cool. Well, Ashley, I thank you so much for coming on. Once again, if you need to know anything about Birmingham, look her up on social media for Brewed Black Girl. Once again, tell people where they can find you, any like hidden gems maybe you didn't think of that you want people to find out about.
Well, thank you for having me, Dave. I'm I was very happy when you asked me to come back on. But like I said, I am on social media under Brew Black Girl. I am on all social media, but I'm mostly active on Facebook and Instagram. Twitter is more of my personal account.
Yeah.
And no, I mean, I can't think of anything else, but feel free to just hop in my DMs if anyone wants any kind of recommendations. If you are coming to Birmingham, if you want to know about local things that's happening, I would be happy to point you in the right direction.
All right, the beer that's in front of me now is from Good People Brewing Company. They're out of Birmingham. This is one of the beers that Brandon sent over. This is their flagship brew, Good People's. This is an IPA with Columbus, Willamette, Cascade, Simcoe, and Citra hops, 7.1% alcohol, 75.5 IBU. What is this? Where are we back in the early 2000s? 75 IBUs. Let's crack open the Good People IPA. Beautiful color on here. Nice caramel malts there that I'm getting. So it's a really nice color. Good foam here. Nice tan foam. Good, I'd say 3 fingers. Smells really good. I get the Simcoe Citra hops up there. That's what hits me up front with the aroma. I think it smells really good. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that bitterness. If you're not used to it with all the hazies out there, the bitterness kind of hits you at the end, but it's good. I like it. Nice and sweet up front. Mid-range is good with that bitterness at the end. I think this is a very good beer, well-balanced IPA. Yeah, that's good. It's unfiltered, so it's not crystal clear like your West Coast, but it's definitely not a hazy. I think this is excellent. If you're a fan of old school IPAs like I am, and you're in Birmingham area, looking on their website, it looks like you could get this in Nashville as well. So, but if you're in their distro area, I would definitely pick up the Good People Brewing Company's IPA. All right, I'm heading to Savoy, Illinois for my Drink Illinois beer series. I'm going to have Stan. This is a West Coast inspired dry hopped lager from Triptych. I tried to get a little more information, but their website is down. So the can doesn't list the ABV on this. It just says that this has domestic Pilsner malt plus a mix of European and North American hops. So let's crack open Stan from Triptych. Stan has a really nice color, good foam here. Big hop notes on the aroma. Like for a lager, I don't think I've ever had a lager that had that big of a hop profile in the aroma. It's huge and it's good. Getting like some mango maybe in that. So I don't know, but let's have this. That's really good. Yeah, definitely get like some mango, some maybe melon fruit in there. I don't get a lot of the European hops, but huge hop flavor to go along with the aroma. I think this tastes phenomenal. It's really good. Good carbonation, has a good mouthfeel to it. I don't get a lot of bitterness here, so this is kind of like a hazy lager, if you will, but I think this is really good. I've heard of Triptych. I've never had anything from them. I happened to see this at Bottles and Cans, which is the bottle shop that's closest to me when I was, grabbing a couple things. I wanted to get some ones from Illinois and not just the same ones from Chicago. As much as I like them, I'm here to drink Illinois beer and not just drink the Chicago heavyweight. So I'm really glad I picked this up from Triptych. They got a great looking logo here. The can is really good. It has like an old cassette tape on it, and it's like a mixed tape. So it's got Stan written on there. I like it. It's very good. I think the beer is excellent. I need to have more from Triptych. So if you're in the Savoy area, or if you're near me and you could pick it up at Bottles and Cans, I definitely would put Stan in the cart. I think this is outstanding. See what I did there? That's going to wrap things up for this edition of Beer in Front. I thank you very much for listening. I want to thank Brandon and Ashley from Birmingham for talking about their great area. We need to get there soon. Have a great week, everyone. I'll talk to you in 6 days. And remember, sometimes the beer in front of you is the best one yet.